Welcome students. Now we are going to discuss about lactate fermentation. Lactate fermentation is nothing but it is a anaerobic respiration. It is a kind of cellular respiration that happens in the absence of oxygen. There are two types of anaerobic respiration: lactic acid fermentation and alcoholic fermentation. Fermentation usually happens in the yeast cell and bacteria and also animal muscle cells. In glucose fermentation, pyruvic acid is converted into carbon dioxide and ethanol. In some bacteria produce lactic acid from pyruvic acid. It is called lactic acid fermentation. This lactic acid fermentation process also seen in the muscle cells of animals. This picture clearly shows the lactic acid fermentation in the animal muscle cells. This process happens in the presence of enzyme lactate dehydrogenase and a reducing agent like NADH is reoxidized to NAD. It is a fermentation process where much of energy is not released, only less than 7% of glucose energy is released. This is the steps of lactic acid fermentation. Glucose is converted into pyruvate with 2 ATP. This is called glycolysis. Then this pyruvate is reduced to lactate with NADH reducing agents. Glucose is breakdown into 3-phosphoglyceric acid. Then it forms a phosphoenol pyruvic acid. Then phosphoenol pyruvic acid later forms pyruvic acid with net 2 ATP molecules. This is called glycolysis. Then this 2 pyruvic acid is reduced to lactic acid with the help of reducing agent. This process happens in the presence of enzyme lactate dehydrogenase enzyme. The final product is 2 lactate molecules from 2 pyruvate molecules. There are two types of lactic acid fermentation. The first one is homolactic acid fermentation. Here lactic acid is the final byproduct. In heterolactic acid fermentation, carbon dioxide and ethanol and lactic acid is the final product. Role in muscle cramp. Inadequate oxygen supply in human muscle cells leads to anaerobic respiration, that is lactic acid fermentation. This excessive buildup of lactic acid creates muscle discomfort is called muscle cramps. Examples of facultative anaerobes: E. coli, Pseudomonas aeruginosa are. Examples of obligate anaerobes: Clostridium and Actinomycetes. The last one is applications. Lactic acid fermentation is the best method used for food preservation, and lactobacillus is the most commercially available bacteria, and it is used in the production of pickles, beer, fermented fish, yogurt, etc. Thank you, students.